Hey, everybody. Michelle's here. Just finished having me a snack. And I'm the type of person I like to snack all day long. And I think that's probably a healthier way to eat, where you're not eating too much at one time. Because anytime I eat something, a lot of stuff at one time, I'm ready to take a nap, you know. So that's why I like to snack all day long if I can. Um, to keep me from having to eat a whole lot of stuff and then okay, I'm tired and sluggish and carrying on. Ah, so anyway, I want to come through. I like to pick around my face and eyes. That's just a habit. It's nothing to be diagnosed. I know a lot of people pick up on. That's what I said. We love the label stuff that people are doing. I mean, if somebody's, doing anything with their hands to on their face, you know, we like to always diagnose people with something, all because of the way they move or the way they talk or the way they act or behave, instead of just sometimes allowing people just to be. Let's let people be, and we need to just leave people alone and let people deal with their situations the best way they can. And so that brings me to the fact that we really need to be realistic about um, our situations, just in case everything is destroyed and from weather related or climate related situations. So for example, if your house gets you can't live in your house, then what are you going to do? While you're waiting for the insurance companies, which is a nightmare dealing with them when you have damage. And I'm speaking from experience. um, so what I like to do, and what I used to like to do when I was working at my old job, is I try to I try I don't like that word. That's a long story. Anyway, I always pay attention or watch videos on how people live. I love watching how people that are homeless live. I love watching videos of people living in their cars. I love the ones that people are living in small houses or tiny houses. And then I kind of go up the chain of how people live, um, because you just want to be realistic, and the thing about me is that I have a lot of skills and abilities, but at the same time I have nothing to prove to anybody. And the thing about, if I were to run into a situation, I know how to handle myself very quickly, because I don't tie myself to my material stuff. That's why I can sell my house, like I can sell my home right here, and be fine with it and not be concerned and anything like that. But I always prepare accordingly, and I prepare properly. And so, but it's always good to get an idea of how other people are living and be realistic. If you're at a certain age, are you going to be able to do certain things? I can do a lot. I have a lot of strength, so I don't have problems with physically demanding jobs. As a matter of fact, I sometimes like that more so than working in an office. But you know anyway, you have to know your physical limits, because we all have physical limits, even though we don't want to admit that. And so just know how, and be a little take a little bit of intensity off of goals for a while, until you can be properly realistic. you know for example, I know we all have a lot of career there's a lot of creative people that are homeless, and we know that, right? We know a lot of creative people that are living in their cars, or living, in hostels or rooming houses. And I think rooming houses are fantastic for young men, attempting to get on their feet, but they have to be safe. So that's something communities can do, throughout, is build like rooming houses throughout your communities, where people can come in, and it's a safe for them to, because most people just want a place to lay their head, and be properly out of the elements, and recharge, whether they're recharging their cell phones, recharging themselves. So I think that's a great idea for someone to consider, building multiple rooming houses for men, and then a multiple rooming houses for women. Women cannot allow men to be there, and men can't allow women to be there. and then just meet up elsewhere, not in these rooming houses. So I think that's a good idea. Honestly, you can use any building and turn it into a rooming house. You just gotta be creative. I'm talking about these developers. Be creative. Um, some people live in sheds. I remember when I was in Atlanta back in the day, some people were living in those storage units, which I would not. Um, and some people are hidden in storage units too. That's something to keep in mind as well. So, but again, be a little bit more realistic, okay? Because some people are not willing to do certain type of jobs, and they've even said it. But what if those are the only jobs out there for you to do, like these physically demanding jobs? There's gonna be more of that than office jobs, and we need to be prepared for that. There's not gonna be there will be no such thing as just call centers at some point. Okay, when destruction comes through and knock that building down or something to that effect. Okay, I know a lot of people just want it easy. And there it is no such thing as easy. You have to get some experience and stuff, and you don't want to wait too long for this to get those experiences. Because then what? Then you're left to try to deal with stuff by yourself. If you were married, and you lose your partner for some reason or another, you lose your wife, you lose your husband. So I would get the experience under my belt ASAP, and consider stuff as an adventure. And because I thought it was real smart. There were some college students. They had just graduated, and they decided to take a trip around the world. You don't want to be extreme now, but you just need to and they what they did is I think they went to the cities they thought that they would see, on of course on video. And once they went to those cities to visit them, it's a completely different perspective, and that's what you need to see. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to go to Hollywood." Hollywood, well, I mean, or I want to go New York, New York, Miami, Miami. Well, okay, Miami is, it's, so you need to experience things. Okay, so you know, so consider that. Otherwise, if you don't experience things, you're not gonna be prepared for anything. You're not. As you get older, you're not gonna be prepared, and then you put all this effort into, you know, building a brand, or developing a brand, or developing yourself. Because yes, to be creative is fantastic, but a lot of creative people are homeless. All right, let's be realistic. Okay, a lot of creative people um, are not used to a structural environment where you need to be at work at 9 o'clock. They're either late or so you're gonna have to be you're gonna have to look at things a little bit differently based on the current situation of our planet and our environment, our climate, our communities, our cultures is not the same. And anybody being and the people that are 30 years and under, you're not going to understand that because you're too young, number one. And most things started to deteriorate rapidly after the war in the 90s. And some of you were born in the 90s, so you're not going to remember any of it. So I just want to share that bit of information, because my job is to my job is to help and provide information. And like I said, billions of people are talking. There's billions of content out there, billions of podcasts. So, in all these billions of people, like I said, you could be essentially invisible. Okay, you can be invisible and buried in all of this, and nobody knows you exist. So, you have to consider that as well, especially if you need to provide for yourself, you know, and have a place to stay. You need to know how to do other things too, just in case your creativity just doesn't work out for you, and people are just not interested. And that can happen in a drop of a dime. And I told you that people will be at the top of the food chain. Everybody's like wanting to talk to them. Everybody want to interview them. Everybody's just so excited about them. And then after somebody else comes through, you disappear from public eye. And I bet you a lot of those people that have gone through all that are out there in the homeless population, if you look deep enough. All right. So I just want to send peace and love, everybody, on this nice Sunday. And you know what? I'll be back.